You're watching VTV 15, your source for local government, history, and the arts.
Members of the public that are here to speak. We do have a couple of citizen communications, which we'll start with today. First, I've got Pablo Perez. Pablo, would you like to address the commission? Come on up. And
I want to let Dan speak. This is Dan Pulley.
that's fine. I've got both of your cards, so
We're both part
Outstanding.
of Honor 361. So again, thank y'all for having us.
All right, I'm just going to go to the PowerPoint since I have a clicker. So we're two of the four board members for Honor 361. Pablo is our president, and I'm the vice president. And oh my gosh, it works. Okay, so again, we're an all voluntary board of four people. We're a 503c. C3, we were organized in 2012. We're based in Victoria, and we currently have the four board members. I just said that twice, but anyway, trying to make that point. And so what Honor 361 is we represent the area code 361, which is where we got the name. And what our goal is, our objective is to construct a monument dedicated to the residents of area code 361 who served in the U.S. War on Terror, which is the longest lasting war in American history. The sad reality within the 361 area code is we've lost 31 individuals since the beginning of that war. So that kind of brings it back home. Quite a few from Victoria area down to Corpus and within that area. Now
When we first joined this organization, we had 9 names. And as the years have gone by, we keep trying to keep up with the names, and unfortunately now we're up to 31.
Yeah, sad reality. And that's from direct combat. We're not talking about, anything beyond that. So these are official VA numbers and VA names that we're getting. So that's the vision. Our project began in 2001. It was a vision by Gilbert Ramon, retired gunny sergeant from the USMC, and he had this vision. He serves as an advisor to the board, as the founder of the board. He's not a voting member, but still a very active part of our group. The primary goal has always been to ensure the human cost and the conflict is never forgotten. And it goes so far beyond that. Not only, we could say freedom is not free and all these other cliches, but quite frankly, it's true. And so this is a visual reminder, a place of education, a place of healing, and definitely a place for future generations to understand what residents of 361 have and were willing to give when their country called them. So we're requesting the city grant permission to place the monument on public or city property. Points to consider: a reasonably high visibility. Will add to the surroundings, peaceful location. The location will be maintained and will be maintained by the local government. And we are requesting a resolution granting permission to place the monument to be on a future agenda. And just to let y'all know, and most of y'all might be aware that we did come here with Paul Pulasic, the former mayor, and presented this to the city council last week. So we do have a meeting with the city manager this Friday to begin discussing the reality of what we're requesting. So current status: most of the funds that we have are from special events, gifts in kind, but mostly special events. Our largest event is an annual CrossFit event. Last year we had to scale it down a little bit. It was a little bit less than 100 teams. So we're looking at about 200 athletes. It's a regional competition, and it's growing. It's fun. It's very interesting. We just came off of a softball tournament. We've had some different bird hunts. We've had bikes, running events, 5K, stuff like that. So that is a bulk of where our funds have come from. Now, the roadblock too has been, yes, we're building a monument, but it's hard to present that and state, well, it's going to be somewhere in 361. So with the official approval of the city of Victoria saying this is where we want to put it, it puts us in a better line to complete our funds for getting this constructed. We're about halfway there as a total funds. We're just roughly $10,000 away from actually going into production on this. So it's been a long road. And of course, when you're doing everything with just fundraisers, it's definitely a slow boat to China. Not that we're going to China, Pablo, so don't go. Okay. All right. So this is a rendition of what it would look like. The gentleman on the left, Colton Rusk. He was lost in Afghanistan, along with his dog Eli. And then we have the names, which are still being populated, but we get the official list from the VA within our 361. So it's so Colton is kind of the face to the monument. It's not just about him. It's about the whole gamut of what these veterans have done, especially those that have gone before us. You have the dimensions there. We have an agreement with Jones Monument here in Victoria because we want to keep things local. So they're the ones that have been working with us in the development and soon the construction of this monument. The proposed location, you can see that would be the Rose Garden in the just below the red circle. So what we were proposing as far as a desired location was near that area, or by the entrance to the boat ramp, kind of in that area, out of the flood plain, but in an area that people can easily access and give visibility.
Another reason we desired that area was to, that's something we can add on to, not just for the monument for Iraq and Afghanistan, but also the other conflicts we've been in, and then also maybe a flag retirement area that the Boy Scouts can properly and respectfully dispose of the colors when it's time for them to be disposed of.
Right.
So all these things with learning and education and historical for the community and for the next generation is, we're thinking about it and in stages.
This is the latest list that we have downloaded from the VA. But as you see, it goes from up to Conedo, down to the Corpus area, over to Orange Grove, up to Robstown, Mathis, that area. So it gets very personal when you start looking at the names of these individuals and where they're from. And that is the end of our presentation. Do y'all have any questions that we can answer?
Does any of the commissioners have questions? Brian, did you?
Yeah, I just had a question on how did y'all decide on Corporal Rusk's face to be on the front of it? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so Gilbert Ramon was the founder, and he had I'm not sure what the exact tie is to Colton, but Colton Rusk and his dog, Colton was killed by a sniper over there, and his dog wouldn't leave, Eli. And so Gilbert Ramon, who was the founder and is our consultant, is one of our consultants and advisors. He has Eli's offspring as his service dogs, and so it's tight. And the family is very involved, Eli's family. But again, it's just a rendition. It is Colton, but it's a rendition to honor everyone who's fallen.
Yeah. And at the time, at the beginning of this organization, with a list of only 9 names, it was a lot more personal as far as having those relationships with these families, these Gold Star families, versus now we're still gaining names and we haven't made contact with all of these names. So it is very personal with Colton.
Any other questions?
But I got 2 questions for you, well, maybe 3. Total cost, you said you were lacking $10,000 to achieve your goal?
To go into production.
To go into
Go into
production.
production,
Yes,
so you don't know the cost of the monuments
yes, sir. The cost of the monument is roughly at 80,000.
Yes, sir.
for each or total?
That's for the
That's-
total,
that's
that's
for
total
that
for the
monument.
monument, yes.
Yes, sir.
8,000?
80.
Oh, 80, I'm sorry.
For installation and everything, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 'cause it said 70 for the,
Excuse me?
it said 70, I thought, on the presentation, so.
Well, talking to Jones recently, with with all the tariffs and everything that they have to deal with and everything, it's gone up, but that's still a significant discount that they've given us from the
I
original
see.
price.
And you're targeting soldiers, veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan?
Sir?
You're targeting our veterans from Afghanistan and Iraq?
Those who have passed away in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Those
yes,
are
sir.
the ones that you target?
And that's the one monument that does not exist here in Victoria.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, sir.
My next question is, I noticed that the list is from all over, to Corpus, Kingsville. So how far are you extending this monument to?
Within the area code 361.
Oh, 361 area
Yes, sir.
code?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because I know that, I know this has been in the making for many years, because I was one of the I went to attend one of the meetings that, I don't know if the young man that's on the board or the advisory board was involved with, he owns, I think it's, we build houses or,
Are you talking about Bull? He was one of the advisors.
One of the
Yes.
special advisors.
In the beginning, that was before our time.
yeah, he's got a office down by.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
still
We
got the
know
office there.
Bull very well.
Yeah,
yes,
we
sir.
met there several times and, we
Good.
discussed this idea about building and management, so you guys picking that up?
Yes, sir.
Which is great. Yeah, great, appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
Other questions?
Yes, sir.
Jesse?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question on the location, which I like. So are there any conflicts or any things in the way, standing in the way from the city's perspective and/or the current concept master plan?
No, ma'am.
So the mission site that's historical, that is beyond this, doesn't encroach on this?
That would be the only thing that we'd have to look into, but just in the location of where it's at, I would say no, that they're outside of that. Everything that I've seen so far just is really mapped within that open green spaced area that kind of outlines it with the trees. So they're on the opposite side of that. So basically in between that and the rose garden. That's something that we would double check, but I can tell you that they're probably good.
Okay, and with regards to the location itself, is your department weighed in on that and found it to be appropriate and acceptable?
We haven't spoken with the department fully yet. We wanted to make sure, even though they did present this to city council, we want to make sure that you were on board with it, location, et cetera. That is something that we will talk with staff about. I don't foresee an issue with it. It's still going to be, it's going to be in an area where they're going to be mowing and weed eating anyway. So I don't think it would necessitate a whole lot of extra work on their part.
And it's definitely close to parking, both from the children's park and from the Rose Garden, so. And I like the idea of wherever it's going to end up, of having enough space to do a flag retirement ceremony.
Yes.
It seems like they've really thought through the purpose and the programming of it, so,
Yes.
thank you.
So also, I noticed on the listing, you had Aguilar, and then you had from Victoria, and then Aguilar from Mathis.
Yes.
Are they the same person?
No, sir.
Because I
two
know
different
that the Aguilar, that you had no first name, I think his name was Andres as well.
There was a different one. Kat's, our secretary is the one who gets the information, and she recently got that name.
Got the first name?
So we were actually verifying, we noticed that when we just downloaded those names, so we were still verifying. But we do know that it's two separate people, and I do believe you're
Yeah,
correct.
I saw
on the
that,
first
one
name.
from
Yes,
Mathis
sir.
and one from Victoria. Well, the Victoria one I
Yes,
know,
sir.
because he was one of my ex-students.
Yes, sir.
Oh, really?
I was just noticed if you're gonna put his first name.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
it should-
Oh,
yes,
yes, sir.
We'll have all that. We'll have all that from the Gold Star moms and the VA.
Good.
Yes,
From the Gold
There's
Star.
another ex-student, Gary Walters.
Gary Walters, yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Actually worked with Gary Walters at Sheriff's Department
Yes, you
before
did work with
before he
him?
deployed.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
great basketball player.
Yeah, he was good.
Mr. Olivares, did you
Yes,
have?
sir. Would you be able to go back to that part where you had all the names of all our soldiers and Marines?
Actually, PowerPoint's down.
Oh, it's
Sorry.
down.
IT guy.
It's okay. We got our IT guy working on it.
About how many feet would it be away from the sidewalk to where, would you be able to stand on the sidewalk and read the names?
We haven't really gone over those details.
Okay.
But it's, once we get to go, we would definitely go out there and see what kind of walkway we would want to and how far we would. And then, of course, lighting and all that. And if we're gonna put a flag, Old Glory up there, of course, we're gonna need lighting for that, to be respectful of the other traditions and the standards with the codes for everything.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Jesse?
Yes, sir. After, I appreciate you putting this up. I take this at heart, what y'all have done here. And it's pretty awesome that the few have accelerated to represent the proud of
Yes,
what they
sir.
have done for this great nation. For this right here, speaking as a combat soldier, okay, when I look at these names here, this runs chills to me,
Yeah.
just looking at that. And I think when the Gold Star families, when all this is up and done and represented, the location that you have there represents a place of solemnity
Yes.
where families can go there, especially the Gold Star members
Right.
and their loved ones. And even our future young children can go there and see the patriotism that these young men did to call. And this is something that very few, less than 1% of American society actually do. And these gentlemen right here, ladies and gentlemen, are the ones that gave all, and some of us gave some.
Right.
And these are the ones that know the end of war. where those of us that survive only knows of the pain and the sorrow that goes with that. I think your goal of what you're doing is awesome and it's tremendous what's needed in this community, and especially the location there, going to the park there. I think that is a very solemn place to put it at, a very stronghold. And it's also an act of teaching patriotism that these folks here did not die in vain.
Right.
And they will continue as long as we are there to carry that legacy.
Yes, sir.
And I think here at Riverside Park, I think we owe that to such fine individuals that allowed us to speak and do what we're doing here today. So, and I know Afghanistan was not an easy place to be at, just like any other war. And so I like to say I'm very proud of what you guys are doing. And hopefully the Parks and Rec here can support you with this, what you're trying to do. And hopefully we can find ways that, it's like you were saying, Jason, it doesn't cost that much more just to maintain the maintenance or cutting the grass around it. But then the feedback, what we get back is the families coming there, and that'll really promote
Yes.
Riverside Park,
Yes.
Riverside here as a park.
And that's at the very spirit of our vision, is that. I mean, it's, so I'm a history teacher, and I teach government history, economics, but there is a disconnect. I mean, after 20 years in war, I mean, America was like, yes, let's go. And then 20 years later, you have to remind yourselves that we're still at war.
That's right.
And so we've forgotten that. But this is something that my grandchildren and their children and their children's children will have in remembrance for what this area, Victoria, and the surrounding areas have contributed to our freedom. So yeah, it gives me chills too. I'm humbled.
And what's
very
so
humbled.
honored about this is that we've seen these children, especially those that are in education,
Yes.
we've seen them grow up as children and wind up going to war.
Yeah.
And sadly, some of them did not come back. They
That's
paid
right.
the ultimate price. So I congratulate y'all on
Thank
your
you.
organization. And I think
Appreciate
if there's anything that we can do, I think, if we know somebody that can help out or do a GoFundMe or something up there to help complete this mission, I think that'd be fantastic.
Your support is very valuable.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for your time for coming.
Thank y'all.
Any other questions?
Other comments from the commissioners? Jason, let me ask you a question. Would it be appropriate for the commission to consider a resolution just in general support of the project? Is that what what council would like to see from us?
Yes, sir. We can make that more formalized. I can actually bring back a resolution to you at the next formal meeting, and you can, move forward with adopting that resolution in support of, Honor 361. I think at that point too, after them having a meeting with city manager's office, may be able to be a little bit more definitive in the location of it. And then that way, that would show your support as a commission to the city council, if that would be my suggestion.
Well, without any objection on the part of any of the commissioners, would we like to just consider that at our next meeting? Potentially, anybody have any contrary thought to that?
Yes, sir, I agree with that.
I agree. I like it too because y'all have so much of it planned out and figured out that, that our support, we're not doing it much. Like you say, the lawn is there. They're gonna be there anyway, cutting it. And they figured out logistics and reasons for the spot. And so it's not that hard for us to support something so good. So I'm with it.
Okay, very good. Well, we'll do that next time, and we'll have that on the agenda as an item to vote on and take action on. Thank you, guys, for what
y'all.
you're doing, and thanks for coming to talk to us about it. I really
appreciate
appreciate it, and I know the commission does as well.
Thank you for your time.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
I'd like to shake your hand, man.
We have a contact number for him?
Justin's got all that.
Jesse? Okay, 'cause I need to contact with him.
They won't need to come back though, right? They won't need to be here for the next meeting, right?
Unless they want to be, if they wanted to
But
be.
not easy shore either.
All right, we've got to get back to business and take a look at the minutes of our last meeting, which were included in the agenda packet that we got. Is there, everybody had an opportunity to look at those? If so, is there a motion to make any changes or to accept those minutes as presented. These are the minutes of the July 12th, 2021 meeting.
I'll do the motion to accept.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented of the July 12th, 2021 meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Move on into other business. Jason, I believe we have jumped a little bit ahead and covered the Honored 361 presentation, unless you had more that you wanted to talk to us about.
No, sir. The only thing that I would like to say about Honor 361 is that, they have been, asking to come to to the commission for quite some time. And so, fortunately, they were able to make a presentation and present it to you tonight. I can tell you that we'll definitely work with them any way that we can to be able to make sure that their project, moves forward. One thing that I would, and we'll talk with them, off to the side, but just parking. I want to make sure that they have adequate parking because I'm not sure how many visitors that they're going to plan or anticipate in coming to this memorial. So just one thing that I just was thinking about, Kimberly, we need to talk about parking. So nonetheless, we'll still have those conversations with Honor 361, and we look forward to working with them. I know this is going to be something that's great for the entire community.
Well, I think one good thing about that, I thought about that too, but, with that new sidewalk that we have, you can access parking, by those ball fields and back over by the old headquarters, potentially. And you've got a good walkway to get to it, so that's kind of nice.
Yes.
Well, that's right by you, and there's
Yes.
a decent amount of parking there at the Rose Garden and, like you said, the old headquarters.
Are they planning to fix that road in the master plan? Like, are they going to fix the parking lot or the pothole? I mean, I know that they're constantly fixing it, but
Sure. I know the only thing that they're going to be looking at in the master plan in regards to street work or just the connections at some of those intersections. There may be some recommendations in there to upgrade, the roadway, but I don't think that's going to be one of the top 10, if you will.
All right. Well, Jason, do you want to go ahead and take us through your Parks and Recreation Department updates?
Sure. So this is going to be a quick meeting compared to last one. I wanted to save y'all a little bit of time, if you will, make up for it from last meeting. So Kimberly and I are going to kind of tag team this. This is somewhat of a new format that we want to present to you each month. And so what we'll do is go through each 4 divisions within the Parks and Recreation Department. So we'll talk about parks, recreation, community center, and the golf course, as well as hit on some of those projects. So first up is parks. It's kind of a hard picture to see. Was trying to at least get some photos in of some of the team members from the 4th of July. But as you can see in that photo, of course we had 4th of July, right, just this past month. And we had a lot of people that worked behind the scenes on that. So we want to publicly thank, those folks. And it was Victoria County EOC. So we had Jenna and Rick there. We had some folks from the fire department, folks from police department. We had people from Public Works helping out with traffic control. We had Parks and Recreation staff there.
CVB and TIO.
CVB and PIO. And so we had a whole slew of city departments representing the patriotic festivals on the 4th of July. So if it wasn't for them as helping us out with that, we wouldn't have been able to produce such a great event. So definitely want to send a shout out to all those folks. Communications, Shane over here too, right? And so anyway, so, a lot of the 4th of July stuff happened. Everything went great. We had a pretty decent turnout. We live streamed it, and we'll kind of touch into some of that in the recreation side. Some other things that we're working on is, of course, Texas Parks and Wildlife, the duck pond. So we actually met with TPWD staff the first part of July, if I'm not mistaken, basically to talk about our pre-agreement. Outlining, what we need to do in our grant, kind of getting everything, put together in a contract, starting to work on some of those deadlines. So just FYI, those things are starting to roll a little bit more now. We hope to have contract and everything wrapped up with TPWD at the last part of this month, being able to produce them the plans for review in September. So things are starting to move forward in regards to the duck pond. And of course, one of the big ones that we had was Monty Webb, our park superintendent, retired. He was with us for 8 or 9 years with the city. Bless you. And he was really great, and a really key team member that we had that we lost. And his primary focus was grass, was turf. He did a really great job with getting the entire department on a turf management plan. And I know that kind of may not sound really cool, but it definitely helps out when you have a plan in place and you have people on a schedule, so that way your grass isn't 2 foot tall by the time you get back to it, and it looks like you're, trying to collect hay. So anyway, Monty Webb retired, so kudos to him. Congratulations to him. We're going to miss him. But one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this up is so we have 2 positions that are available right now. We have our recreation superintendent, which was Jamie. We have our parks superintendent position, who was Monty's. And something that we're doing internally is looking at our efficiencies and our processes. And so what we've been talking about is trying to combine those 2 positions. And so we are moving forward with that. We'll have a Parks and Recreation superintendent position versus a park superintendent and a rec superintendent. And some of the reason behind that, and just so you know, is that our recreation division is only 3. And so it doesn't really, we don't feel like it has a whole lot of merit there to necessitate a superintendent over those 3 people. Rather, we have a Parks and Recreation superintendent who oversees the parks and the recreation division. So we're trying to be a little bit more efficient and streamline some things going that way. So what happens with the other position? Well, another thing that we need to focus on is sports and sports tourism. And so what we're going to do is create a sports tourism manager position out of that. And so what we've essentially done was taken our 2 leadership positions, turned one of them into a combined position, and created a sports tourism position, all while still staying within the constraints of the budget that we have currently. So we're not increasing our full-time employees, we're not increasing our salaries, we're just merely shifting the way that we're looking at things. So just wanted y'all to be aware of that. That is going to be something that is going to be helpful to us when it comes to sports tourism in our leagues and our tournaments. So we're still working on that on the back end, but that is a decision that we've spoken with the CMO, and they're in full favor of it. So just wanted to let y'all know about that.
And you'll be in, you're not ready to announce exactly who's doing what at this point, or have you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
since they're brand new positions where you have to create those job descriptions, and so that's kind of where we're at right now.
Okay.
We've left the ball in HR's court, so just wanted to make sure you're aware.
Good, thank you.
Yes, sir. Kimberly, anything you want to add on to the previous month in July before I go into what to be looking for?
The end of July, sorry. So was it on another slide? Some of the programs?
Yes.
Okay.
Over here?
So, nope, we're good on parks.
Okay.
Fox's Bend has been reopened. We were able to, there was a huge tree that was down blocking the road, and that has since been removed. So Fox's Bend is open.
There have been a lot of trees down.
There's a lot of
Yes.
trees down.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. That is something that staff is going to be working on. We actually have some contractors that are supposed to be coming in and clearing out some of that debris for us. Staff has just been super busy with mosquitoes, with grass, with the trees down, and sometimes the river fluctuating like a roller coaster. So, yeah. Things to look out for this upcoming month. So we also work with Danielle in the downtown office, if you will. And so she's been working on some landscaping improvements for some of the areas downtown. 3 of those you may start to notice is starting to get a facelift. It's going to be De Leon Plaza, the library, as well as City Hall. So she's went ahead and moved forward with that project, and you'll start to see some people working over there, starting to pull out some of the old vegetation and replanting and installing new stuff. So wanted y'all to be aware about that. And then the only other thing that we're going to be working on in parks, well, the only other thing, but many of the other things, is discussing a mowing contract. That may not mean a whole lot to the commission, but I can tell you that out of the 16 parks that we have, 7 of them are what we do in-house, right? Yeah, 7 of them what we do in-house. The rest of them we contract out. And that's going to be other parks. It could be other, just I say right-of-ways, but as a loose term, in parks, park easements, even the cemetery, some of the ball fields, some of those things still get contracted out. And it's a really large contract, and so what we're doing is we work with environmental services and public works, and so we're having those conversations just to better align our side of the contract with the things that we feel are tied in with parks. So just wanted y'all to be aware of that as well.
Does that get contracted out just because y'all don't have the bandwidth to do all of the mowing and it's cheaper just to have somebody else do it?
Yes, sir. Yeah. And I can tell you that's quite frankly, that's something that we're looking at as well. There's a couple areas that Kimberly and I have noticed that we're spending a large amount of money on that don't necessarily produce the same quality of work. And it also necessitates staff to be on the contractors more. And so it's like, are we really saving there? And so we are looking at that again just to make sure that we're covering everything. Anything else? Okay. Pass the mic over to Kimberly.
All right, so for recreation, so some of the highlights that we hit for July is we had that 4th of July event that Jason mentioned at the community center. We partnered with the Corpus Christi Football Club, their soccer club. We had a clinic with them at the beginning of July, and that was really fun. We had it out at Memorial Stadium. We had, I think, about 30 kids out there, and it was really great. Weather was, Victoria this summer, so that was interesting, but it was really successful. The kids really loved it. The parents really enjoyed it as well. So we're looking forward to future soccer clinics. We participated in the Southside Communities Back to School Bash. So we had our pop-up park trailer out there, and then we also had a movie in the park out there behind FW Gross. It was a really great event. They had, I think, 500 backpacks, Justin, that they gave out, or they had available to the community, which was really great. And then we had a couple different tournaments at the YSC, the ASC, and the Riverside. And I want to say Honor 361 had a home run derby out at Riverside as well last month. So that was pretty cool. And then coming up, so this Saturday, we have our kayak clinic. Ashley's going to be a great help with that. And we have the Goliad paddling trail. They're going to be donating some tandem kayaks to us, and then the Coastal Bend paddlers will be out there supporting us as well, helping us out there. And then Fire will have their Swiftwater rescue team, so we'll be nice and safe. It'll be great. And then we had a street dance scheduled for next week on the 19th. I heard today from Glaziers that they need to reschedule it. Don't know when. So to be determined on that, and we'll let you guys know. Will Rogers Park, if you guys remember from when we went out there, they had this really beautiful sidewalk that goes around the park. The United Way has a Born Learning Trail, so it's essentially a trail for reading and activities for kids on sidewalks. It's something the whole family can be a part of, that it really engages those young ones in teaching them those colors, those numbers, games, reading, all that stuff. And so they have a sponsor, the United Way, and that we're going to be putting it August 27th around Will Rogers Park. So that'll be really fun, and we're going to have an event out there. So stay tuned with that. We also have the punt, pass, and kick. So it's really similar to the pitch, hit, run that we had a couple months ago. So kids will come out and they'll try, they'll be competing with nationwide, for punting, passing, and kicking the football. So that should be really fun, kicking off football season as well. And then we have adult softball and kickball leagues are finishing up at the adult sports complex. It's been a very wet, rainy season, and it has gone much longer than anyone anticipated. So we are hopefully going to be wrapping that up in the next few weeks, but it's, well, actually, I think middle of September, which is pushing back when our fall leagues start, so they'll actually be starting in fall, which is kind of cool. We can call it the Fall League in fall. And then today was a very exciting day. We have a new recreation coordinator named Jenna Bothell. She started today. She's very excited. She'll be focusing on programs, so she'll be out at the kayak clinic this weekend, and she's just going to be jumping in. She's really excited to join us, and we're really lucky to have her.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you all.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Okay, well, we'll keep on rolling then. So the golf course, I wanted to, again, a new look. As time goes, I promise all of these slides will be prettier. But the golf course, I wanted to give you a quick look at this. I felt like, we talked heavily about parks and recreation, but we tend to leave out community center and the golf course a lot of times. And so this is just my way of making an effort to present, the golf course to you. So in the box, you can see that's going to be our end month for July. So total to date, we made it $96,609 before finance gets a hold of it. So just to give you an idea, our expenditures are around $85,000 a month. So that's about a $10,000 revenue, if you will.
Is it 85,000 a month
Yes.
or year to date?
I'm sorry. No, that's right. I'm sorry. Year to date.
Yeah. Your
Yes,
expenses year to date are
96,000.
85,000. Okay. I was
Yes,
like, whoa.
yes, you're right. Sorry about that. Yeah. And so what we did on this is get a snapshot of your tournament rounds as well as the practice rounds and then the total rounds. So I put that off to the side for you so you can get an idea. Last month, I think it was around 2,200 to 2,300 rounds total. This month, we're a little bit more. That's about where we hover, is around the 2,000 mark. We did receive 20 additional golf carts. What we have is a fleet of 50. And a while back, we went to council and asked for an additional 20 carts. And so we did receive those additional 20 carts this month. We are looking to receive a new range picker. That's supposed to be in about 2 weeks from now. So that's going to help out staff with picking up the balls on the driving range, those kinds of things.
Do we own or lease the carts? We
lease them.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It's a lease to own, and so at the end of the 4-year mark, we have the option to buy out. Let's see. So I wanted to also put on there the current waiting list. So we've had a current waiting list of a solid, roughly 50 or so right there. Right now it's at 47. What we're going to do with those new additional 20 carts is to alleviate some of those, the waiting list members. And so we will get some of those members off of that waiting list.
Just to clarify, the waiting list is people waiting for memberships or cart memberships?
For annual memberships, yes, sir.
Okay, so we're capped at annual memberships. How
Yes,
many
sir.
is that?
It's at 200.
200?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
And so what we're looking at doing is increasing that from 200 to about 225, maybe 230. And then that way we can, get the revenue off of those memberships right off the top, and then B, go ahead and pull some of those members off of that, or those people off of that waiting list. I mean, because nobody wants to be on a waiting list for 2 years.
And the crowds are not such that it's off-putting, is that right? I mean, you can come out and play around without terrible wait.
Yes, yeah, I should know this. I don't know right off the top what the rounds are, like how long it takes you to play a game, but I can tell you it can't be more than 4 hours.
4 hours is typical pace for a golf course. What is the reasoning behind having 200 members? Because any public member can go play down there, right? You don't have to have a membership. So what is the reason for capping memberships at 200?
Yeah, we have different. So capping it at that certain amount, I guess at that 200 always ensures that we're going to, it ensures that people are going to be, when somebody rolls off, we have somebody that can jump back onto a membership. I mean, if we just open it up to 300 members, I guess we could do that. It's a lot of keeping track.
Well, because even if I'm not a member, I could still go out there and play.
Right. You have certain benefits for memberships versus your non-members. I don't know what those are right off the top, but I know they do have certain discounts that you have with the membership.
Clarification, I know you used to call it membership, but you guys called it annual passes. I mean,
Annual
maybe the same
passes, yeah,
thing.
memberships,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, so you guys just started at 200 and that's been growing really well. Like you said, you're growing that with your new carts. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yep. Let's see. So some different events that are going to be coming. Well, we had Hot as Heck just this past weekend. We had 72 players in there. We have greens aerification that's going to be taking place on the 10th. And then we have the PAGA 9 a.m. shotgun start here at the end of the month. So just a few, little tournaments / events that we're going to be having over at the golf course. Again, greens aerification is one of the big ones that golfers want to know about typically. Right. Sometimes they don't like those little pegs in their way. Okay, community center. Again, just wanted to give you a quick little rundown of or recap of July. So July, the community center, I broke it down to the city of Victoria rentals versus non-city of Victoria rentals. So in total, we had 26 rentals for the entire month of July. However, out of those 26, 14 of them were from the city of Victoria, and 12 of them were outside organizations or private entities. Some of the big ones that were public rentals, they included the 4th of July. So, of course, we had that at the community center. The carnival was there. And then we had a broadband meeting, excuse me, a broadband meeting. And then some of the private rentals just included Sweet 16, some graduations, and some weddings. What we're currently working on at the community center is an RFP for our HVAC system. To make a really long story short, we had money in the budget this year for HVAC repairs. We've come to find out that we need a complete rehaul of the entire system. And so we budgeted for that in this upcoming fiscal year. However, we still have the money available now for the repairs. So what we're looking at doing is going out for engineering services and get that knocked out of the way. So hopefully we're able to save some money on the back end. And then, of course, we're working with the Recreation Division, or Jody's working with Recreation Division to utilize the facility a little bit more. And one of those things I can mention is RC cars. So we're looking at using the arena area for RC car races. We've actually put a survey out there to the community, and there is an overwhelming response, positive response about RC cars. And so we're working with someone in Hi-Pro, I believe, Hi-Pro. So it kind of goes back to when I was a kid. When I was a kid, Hi-Pro used to have like the RC car stuff going on in the back. They have races and they had the dirt tracks and all of that. Well, I went by and they don't have that anymore. And so I just challenged staff to look into it. And so they did a great job, and they're going to be working with Hi-Pro on a RC Derby recreation league, something or other. I don't know. But I think, the biggest thing here is that we can use the community center for something else. I mean, it doesn't have to be events, and we're not using it Monday through Thursday for something. Why don't we use it for recreation? Why don't we use it to have some of these random RC car leagues or goat yoga or whatever we decide to bring in,
They could do volleyball there.
Yeah.
too.
Yep.
Stuff like that.
So I think, in talking with staff and Mike is supportive of it as well, and just trying to figure out different ways to be able to utilize the facilities that we have. So a little bit more than what we are. Anything on community center? See, that's simple, right? The only thing that I don't have in here that I just wanted to verbally update y'all on are just a few of the projects. So the soccer fields are still moving forward. We're actually going to have, we met with VYSO last week. Mike was there as well in attendance, and VYSO will be moving into the soccer fields, if you will, at Riverside Park. Their first games, I believe, are on September the 11th. So we'll work with them. They're going to have they want to have a little mini event, if you will, kind of a groundbreaking ceremony the weekend before. And so we're going to be working with them on that. I mentioned the duck pond already, the park's master plan. That's still going on, right? Just met with everyone last month. I appreciate y'all's time and all the information you provided. Just really quickly, they're moving forward with the concepts for ELT and MLK Park. Riverside Park, they're still moving forward with a lot of the recommendations that we heard. We haven't been able to produce anything else to the city manager's office as far as a conceptual is concerned. But I can tell you that they're still on track with everything. Chapter 3 has been sent over to us. We're reviewing it right now, and so we'll have that pushed out to y'all probably within the next week or so for y'all's review. We will have one more open house. It looks like we'll probably be shooting for mid to late September, be more of an informational type open house than an interactive. So I just wanted to give y'all a heads up on that. Let's see, TAF. TAF is a big one. That's still taking place. Still looking forward to it come this upcoming year. That also goes hand in hand with what I mentioned earlier about a sports assessment, sports facilities assessment. So because we have, 5 or 6 facilities that are going to be used for TAF, we're currently looking at those and seeing what we can do to upgrade those. And so city manager is behind that 100% and just telling us, hey, figure out what we need and let's go upgrade it. So we're looking at that. And yeah, that's all I've got. Oh, Tree City USA. Sorry, I apologize. Last thing on my list. I provided, I believe, the commission last time with a sample ordinance, a tree ordinance. I just wanted to tell y'all, that is a very, very simple ordinance, if you will. I don't want to present anything that's going to be too, restrictive on private property owners, but I also want us to be able to include something that will allow us the opportunity to become Tree City USA again. And so if y'all are okay with that tree sample that I gave y'all, that ordinance, what I'm going to do is work on it a little bit more, get it over to Mike and let legal take a look at it. And then what I'd like to do is then just present it to you in more of a formal draft, if you will. And then that way we can discuss it. We'll put it on an agenda item, and then that way we can have some true conversation about it. Sound good? Awesome.
That was
I
great.
had a quick question, or
Yes, sir.
are you moving on to the next
I'm
slide?
good. That's all I've got. No, sir.
Just an update on the splash pad. I know that
Yes, sir.
the community center splash pad had some engineering problems that y'all were looking into.
Yes.
Just didn't know if there was any update on that.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I think, do you have anything, or I can touch on it slightly?
Go first.
Okay, well, I only know a little bit, so I'm looking at her because she oversees parks and rec divisions. I can tell you that I spoke with our parks foreman. She said that we were getting a contractor out there, the line locator. We actually had them come out, or the leak detector guys, come out late last week. I believe she said that there was one leak that was found in Ethel Lee.
There's one leak at the community center.
Okay,
I don't want to. Anyways, so so with the damage that we've seen with the community center, one of the big problems is that like the grout in between the slabs has really gone away. So that's really probably what the biggest problem has been. Is there's one leak. Don't know how big the leak is, but for how much damage has been done, it was kind of surprising that it's just one leak. So.
the problem with community center, I don't know if y'all have actually had an opportunity to go over there, but there's a substantial shift in that concrete slab, and so that's the biggest concern that we have. Like if there's a minor leak and we could continue to operate it, no big deal. Let's do that. But because we have such a huge gap difference, I'm not going to open that up and take the chance of somebody hurting themselves. I can. Go ahead.
We're with Ethel Lee Tracy. There's more leaks out there, but those leaks are only for like each play piece. It hasn't shifted the foundation. It hasn't created anything that is really unsafe that leads to scraped knees and broken toes and things like that. So they're able to just turn off a water feature to still have the rest of it open. So that's why there's more leaks, but it's.
So we're still waiting to hear back from engineering on community center as to what to do there.
Mm-hmm. How's it
If
gonna
it was
fix?
the only one closed, do you think it'd be back open already? I mean, if that was our only splash pad in Victoria, do you think it would be more of a priority and be back open already?
I can't say because I don't think it's not a priority for us. It's something that when we noticed it, we started those conversations with the contractors. It has honestly been contractors. We've been waiting for them to come in. Quite frankly, I don't believe so. I think we would have been waiting just as long.
So what does it take to notice it? Because you said it was a small leak, so it must have gone unchecked for quite a while,
Sure.
I guess, undetected.
Yeah, that's a really good question, sir. All I can tell you is that when we first started getting the splash pads up and running, because they go down for the winter time, and so staff, and this is something that we're changing too internally, is just a maintenance program, but Staff had normally shut it down, winterized it, and called it done until the next time that we say, okay, hey, let's get it ready again. You know, I can tell you that last year we shut it down. We started getting them ready again for this year, and that's when we noticed it. How much that changed off of that one leak, I don't know how it changed that quick. I honestly don't know the condition of it last year. I didn't physically go out there and take a look at it. There could have already been, you know, an inch difference in between it. It's just, you know, from that point to now when we started, you know, looking at it for this upcoming year, it just shifted more. I'm not sure.
I do know, because you weren't here, it just seems like quite a big investment to just hope it lasts without doing maintenance, whether it's freezing or really hot, you know. That's what my point was, I guess.
Yes, sir. And I could tell you, Mr. Urbano, one of the things that we're going to be looking at, like Kimberly mentioned, that grout has, you know, deteriorated and it hasn't been replaced. Well, that's the stuff that we need to start working on, be more proactive on instead of reactive. You know, we need to put those things in the budget. And part of that is just having a conversation with those vendors and saying, how long does this grout supposed to last me? 3 years? Okay, cool. Well, then every 3 years, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I've got money in the budget to come through and regrout this, you know, and reseal it. It's just, I don't, you know, we haven't really had those conversations, I don't think, before. And so I want to shift that and make sure that we, again, are more proactive versus reactive. But that's what ends up happening. We end up getting, you know, well, it's the grout, and then this shifted, and now this has a leak. And so, you know, if we could have just fixed the grout, I'm just throwing numbers out there, for $5,000. Well, you know, 2 years later, now we've got a $15,000 issue instead of $5,000. So,
Or find a maintenance contractor that will contract out the services because they know what they're doing. You know, I mean,
yeah,
it's kind of first go around with the splash pad, you don't know until you know, sort of thing.
yep. Yep. I can tell you we are on top of it. We definitely want to get it fixed. We have heard from community members, you know, from the south side, and, you know, asking about the community center splash pad. So we definitely know that it's, you know, it's on people's minds, and so we want to get it fixed.
Jason, didn't you also tell us before that this particular splash pad was actually built on top of an old swimming pool? So there was, is that what?
I believe it. Well, I believe so. Yes, ma'am.
So there was a void space which they had to go in and fill, and they had to backfill and compact it. So if you have a leak in that one area, that could do a whole lot of,
Yes, ma'am.
if it wasn't compacted properly to start with, that could give you a huge problem.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. You know, it's just like anything else, right? The joys of just, you know, changing of hands and people, you know, like you said, doing different projects, and you don't know what was underneath before unless you have that historical knowledge.
Yeah, and with all of the, I know that from my personal experience, where with all of the dense rains we've gotten, received, and then it gets really hot really quick. I mean, the soil is it gets super saturated, and it's clay soils, and then it expands, and things move.
Yes,
So-
ma'am.
But I do like your suggestion that, and when you go to shut it down in the winter, that you're gonna put a new program in, I think is what you basically said.
Yes, ma'am.
To look at everything in detail and know what you're up against.
Yes, ma'am.
And have some money available to fix some of that, yeah.
Yes,
Because I
ma'am.
definitely think splash pads in this town are the way to go. I mean, you guys, I mean, I love the fact that we've got them planned in the new master plan. I mean, they seem to get a lot of use, and, you know, like you went to the new 9 to 9 schedule, right?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
how's that going, the new 9 to 9?
You know, I haven't heard anything, so no news is good news is the way that I take it. But I'll look over at staff. Have y'all heard anything positive or negative on that?
I love it.
I
going
can
good?
speak positively because I've been there after 7 and those things are
Yeah.
full.
Good.
So, yeah.
I
so
like
they're
it too,
great.
because at 8, it's the perfect time. You get into 90 degrees at 8 p.m. And so, yeah, I love it.
True.
I visited the splash pad that's over there by the trail because I live in, you know, Cimarron, so in that area. And I just asked the people that were there. They want basketball courts, they want a playground, they want workout equipment. And they're like, we have a trail right here. We'd like to see more of that stuff here. And I was like, well, you know, we're in the middle of a master plan and we have 3 other things going on right now. But those were the things that people over there, they do want that stuff.
Awesome. Well, and HAF does have some pretty good ideas for Lone Tree Creek Park. So
Awesome.
yeah, really, really good stuff.
Great.
Yeah. All right. Well, any other
Other
questions for me?
comments or questions from the commissioners? Jason, thank you, guys. I appreciate
Yes,
it.
thank you.
Thanks very much. So next on the agenda is future agenda items. Does anything from commissioners on things they'd like to talk about or see on a future agenda? I have one. Well, I had a community member contact me. He had seen something called the National Fitness Campaign, which is a group that builds these fitness, and like you just talked about, fitness equipment, outdoor fitness equipment in various communities. And I mentioned it to Jason, and Jason was familiar with the company. These are very, very nice outdoor installations. They're pretty expensive, and I think the company provides, I mean, they're all about using community, activating community members to raise the money needed to put them together and to buy these things, I guess. And they provide some grant funds for that, I think, as well. Anyway, I don't know that much about it, but I wanted to maybe kind of put a pin in it as something for us to maybe kick around and show it to HAF or mention it to HAF. I'm sure they're familiar with the firm, and I've brought it, just if any of you would like to have it following the meeting, I brought, I don't think I brought enough for, I didn't bring enough candy for everybody, but I brought a few copies of a couple of articles about one of these that's down in the valley. And I thought that was, kind of an interesting, nearby, let's see, it's in Edinburgh, and I think they put two of them in down there. But anyway, they're the centers, they're very modern, kind of cool designed, but they're outdoors, and I think it also comes along with kind of a Peloton-like workout deal that goes with it, so that you can, actually do a program, or a bunch of different programs of workouts and stuff on it. So anyway, it's something to take a look at, and I thought we might kick it around at the next meeting, so.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I think those are good programs. I know
love
they
it,
have
Lee.
them along the borderlands, and they're made out of metal where you use your own weight.
Yep, that's what this
That's
is.
the weights, that's what that is.
Yeah.
And I know we did one like in Laredo, I think it ran about 100,000 by the time they did the foundation. And they put about 17 stations out there. But what they did, they also partnered up with the school system where they would do it, and then the city would take over the maiden. So, and then plus at night, it started having families all gathered around there doing things, putting benches out there. And we had AEP donate some lamp posts where there was lighting up there. So it was, that's an excellent idea there.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's a neat, you might want, I'll have these for you if anyone wants to take a look at it and see what you think. Anyway, anything else from?
Oh, no, I was gonna say one more thing. When I was at the splash pad, because there were always around like 20 to 30 people there and at least 10 kids on the splash pad, like at all times. So we stayed there for a few hours, and then I've been going a few times just to kind of see like what the life is like over there. Another thing that was mentioned was misters would be nice for the parents that are sitting down. And that since there's already water there, if they could have some type of mister, they would stay cool, and then always keep it covered so they have put, more seating for parents and, stuff like that.
Real quick comment, sir. I heard Jason, I heard a comment a couple of days ago in the community about the parks that are going on here.
Okay.
And it was very positive. I strongly believe, again, I'll say it again, I always tell you this, but since you've taken over, there's been so much positiveness, so much cleanness in the parks, and people are out there, the kids are feeling safe. I know one particular family said they were having a great time, just enjoying the parks as they should be.
All right.
So
Well, thank you.
I think it's great what you and the Parks and Recs Department are doing an excellent job out here.
Appreciate it. Thank
Continue
you.
good work.
I've heard the same thing. I just heard a lot of positive things of what's happening at the park, the events that are taking place. So I congratulate you and your staff.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll definitely pass along the comments to staff.
Oh, and y'all seem to have wiped out the mosquitoes. There were a lot of complaints in the beginning, but now they're gone, and everyone's like, "Where'd the mosquitoes go?" And I keep getting calls like, "Do we need to bring mosquito spray?" And I'm like, "They're gone." So.
So just to clarify, are you wanting them back?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, we're just proud of you. Thank you for eliminating them.
Great job on the mosquitoes.
All right.
Great job.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, very well, everybody. Thank you all very much. We're adjourned. And thanks. Thanks so much.
Jesse.